Hello. Today we will discuss my performance-based project on the gradual release of responsibility model in a high school level consumer math class. This project is for the EDUC 513 Models of Teaching class. In the gradual release of responsibility, or GROR model, the student cognition shifts from being the responsibility of the teacher to being the responsibility of the student. The teacher starts by teaching by telling, then shifts to scaffolding and modeling, and then shifts to the student's learning by doing. This timeline for the shift can take place over the course of a lesson or even the course of a year. The end goal of the gradual release of responsibility model is for the student to be an independent learner. The gradual release of responsibility structure has 4 phases. The first is the focus lesson, or the I do it phase. The second phase is the guided instruction, or the we do it phase. The third phase is the collaboration, or you do it together phase. And finally, the fourth phase is the independent, or you do it alone phase. This graphic demonstrates how the teacher responsibility is high in the focus phase and guided instruction phase, and then there is a shift to the student responsibility being high in the last 2 phases, the collaborative and independent phase. In the first phase, or the focus lesson phase, the teacher establishes a purpose by setting a clear objective. The teacher should build or activate background knowledge and use modeling techniques to demonstrate the lesson. This phase should be brief. In the second phase, or guided instruction phase, the teacher can use the following strategies to increase the understanding of content: prompting, questioning, facilitating, and leading. Typically, this phase incorporates whole class instruction and addresses the needs identified on formative assessments. During this phase, the teacher will instruct students in specific literacy components. The third phase, or collaboration phase, is often neglected by teachers but is critical for student learning. In this phase, students problem solve, discuss, negotiate, and think with their peers. Research has shown that in order to be successful, groups should be in groups of mixed ability. The final, or fourth phase, is the independent learning phase. This phase provides students practice with applying learned skills in new ways and allows students to synthesize information, transform ideas, and solidify their understanding. I chose to use the gradual release of responsibility model in my high school level consumer math class. The topic for this lesson is annual wages. The essential questions are: what is an annual wage and how is annual wage estimated? For this lesson, I used the following teaching strategies: setting objectives and providing feedback, identifying similarities and differences, summarizing and note-taking, reinforcing effort and providing recognition, generating and testing hypotheses, cooperative learning, and homework and practice. For the focus lesson, I first stated the objective: defined annual and estimated wage. We then had a class discussion about annual wage. Students were asked to hypothesize how annual wage and estimated annual wage is found. They were then asked to discuss the similarities and differences between actual and estimated results. After the discussion, key terms were read aloud and students were asked to write them in their notebooks. Before demonstrating how to find annual wage, I did a brief review of the students' background knowledge of and ability to use mental math. I then modeled how to find estimated annual wage by thinking aloud and demonstrating on the board. The guided instruction phase had 2 components, the whole group and the small group components. For the whole group component, I demonstrated how to estimate annual wage, and I also explained why, when estimating, we can use 50 weeks instead of 52. During these examples, the students took notes. In the small group component, students were put into small random groups to find annual wage for 7 different people. Students were asked to think aloud and discuss how they found their answers, and afterwards we went over answers as a whole class. As I went from group to group, students were given positive encouragement and feedback. During the collaboration phase, students were put into random groups of 3 or 4 and went to the Bureau of Labor Statistics website to find the median hourly rate of 8 different occupations of their group's choice. They were then asked to find the annual wages for their selected occupations. Afterwards, each group made small presentations of their findings to the class. In the final phase, or independent phase, students were asked to submit their answers to me via note to the closer question at the end of class, to which I provided immediate feedback. The students were also asked to complete a homework assignment in Schoology. They were asked to complete the assignment, to which immediate feedback was provided by Schoology. In this lesson, I used the gradual release of responsibility model to shift the responsibility of the lesson of annual wages from me to the students using the 4 stages: focus lessons, guided instruction, collaboration, and independent practice. The following resources were used when creating my performance-based project. This concludes my performance-based project on the gradual release of responsibility model used in a high school level consumer math class. Thank you very much and have a nice day.